presentation tonight is what I call audio-biographical. As we get older, we look back on our lives and we see it in chapters, in sections. And as a songwriter, you realize that there are songs that you've written during those chapters, and I think of them as bookmarks. So the songs that I selected tonight are some of the bookmarks of the chapters. Some of the chapters, believe me, I won't bore you with the whole thing, but it's going to be long enough of my life. And I've brought a visual aid for you all to further engage you. This is my little life of me. So, without further ado, we have a lot of songs to play. Let's begin. What's in the first chapter? Chapter 1. Yes, Mike is right. I was raised in the deep woods of Alaska. And this happened, bush kid to city kid, raised in the really deep woods. I mean, we were very isolated. We called it living in the bush. We didn't call it living off the grid because there was no grid to live in the bush. Our footsteps were the first in many of the places that we went and where we lived. So when I was about 13, my parents split up and I had to make that transition. My mom moved into Anchorage, which even at that time was still a pretty big city. It was like 250,000 people. And for a little bush kid like me, who'd been very isolated, that was a really big transition. Living out in the woods, the transition was not only emotional and social. I was coming into my teens, you know, go figure. And, but it was also environmental. I mean, hugely environmental, because I was used to darkness and silence like most people never ever get to experience in life. Those winter nights, there's nothing quite like that. You're in the middle of the woods. There's no lights, there's no roads, there's no light pollution. The stars are so bright that they cause shadows. And the air is so still that you could hear everything. You could hear a tree snap a mile away. And we lived about 1.5 miles inland from the Alaska Railroad. And on those nights you would hear the trains go by. And it was because it was so quiet, they sounded really close. I mean, they sounded like they were just on the other side of the lake. You'd hear the whistle blow. And a lot of times, if there was a moose on the tracks, you'd hear them blowing and blowing and blowing, trying to get the moose off the tracks, and you'd be laying there going, God, I hope that's not my drunk buddy on the snow machine. Unfortunately, that's not part of my story. So living in Anchorage, I remember distinctly the night that I started writing this song. I was laying there and I couldn't get to sleep, and part of it was the environmental part, the light coming through the blinds in the window, the noise of the traffic on the streets and so forth. And of course, the Alaska Railroad took off from Anchorage and went up to Fairbanks, so I would hear the trains leave the Anchorage depot. And it made me homesick. Late night in the city, I just can't get to sleep. These city lights are pretty, but my heart they never keep. Somewhere in the distance, I hear a freight train moan. But for my commitments, I jumped that freight train. In this place where there's no darkness, this place where there's no peace, no refuge from the starkness of these neon city streets. Each night in the distance, I hear the freight train moan. But for my commitments, that train would take me. No shadows from the starlight, no whispers from the trees. The wind has lost its voice here and doesn't speak to me. But I can still remember the things I heard it say, howling in December and murmuring. If I was where I should be, Lord knows I'd be there if I could be. I'd be lying in my bed, blankets on my head, and that long lonesome wail would sound good to me. Someday I'll go home. Someday I'll remember all the things I've always known. And I'll stand under the starlight and I'll listen to the wind. Deep asleep in the dark night, I'll hear that train again. Late night in the city, I just can't get to sleep. These city lights are pretty, but my heart they never keep. Somewhere in the distance, I hear that freight train moan. But for my commitments, I'd jump that freight train. So of course another part of this transition was that I had to go to public school for the first time. So there I was, a shy little bush kid. I mean, really shy, probably completely socially inept. And I had to start attending public school. I was very, very fortunate that in Anchorage there was a tiny little alternative high school that was really cut out for people just like me. They encouraged us to be free thinkers, independent task doers, and really just, it was an environment that even I, coming out of the bush, was able to feel comfortable in, and they embraced me and I embraced it. And fortunately I had this security blanket, and that really helped me make the transition. Because to have something that you were good at, you know, that I could sit down and play my guitar and play my songs, and it really helped. And the other thing that was very cool for me, being 13, they had boys at this school. So, you know, I was a teenage girl, teenage boys, it worked perfectly. So, of course, I fell in love, had my first boyfriend, and I'm happy to say that he's still one of my dearest friends. He's just the greatest guy. And this is one of the first kind of lusty songs I wrote. I don't know if you call it a love song. It's just kind of a passion-inspired song. And I wrote this when I was 15 and with my first boyfriend. And the interesting thing about it is, looking back on it, it's really from a very adult point of view. You hear the song, you probably wouldn't think that it was written by a 15-year-old, or you'd go, And it's called This Rainy Night. And gosh, wasn't last night nice? You pick up your title bones, lay them in a big pile right next to you. See how reassuringly that old friendly fire burns, and there ain't nowhere else, baby, that you gotta be. We've been in a hurry, living life to worry, and wondering how to make ends meet. And I'm not gonna think about what I might have to live without, as long as I got this tingle in my feet. While we're both here, safe and dry, there's only you this rainy night, and I. Why don't you close now your lazy brown eyes? Though you know, no, I will not know that you sleep. We're gonna lay right here, oh, till the fire dies. Your baby ain't ever gonna lose that fire way down deep. 'Cause we've been in a hurry, living life to worry, and wondering how to make ends meet. Looks like the morning's gonna be late today. Ain't no sun to chase the night. As long as I've got you right here by my side, I'm gonna hold you tight and go along for the ride. 'Cause we've been in a hurry, oh yeah, living life to worry. I know you're wondering how to make ends meet. Oh, I refuse to think about what I might have to live without, as long as I got this tangle in my feet. While we're both here, safe and dry, there's only you this rainy night, and yeah, 'cause while we're both here, oh, so safe and dry, there's only you, there's only you, this rainy, rainy night. And